Michael despeke de az xalatına dikim. Ev çend rojin tevlubunata YPG dengeke mezin de medya cihanda vedde. Çi bu ku Michael ve kesek minata aktör em bejin vate xab ciddiyle de çe Rojava tevlu YPG de be. Çi bu ya sebep?
Robin, I think the first time I became aware of this situation, not the first time I became aware of it, but the first time I really got moved in a very emotional way was when I saw the American, Mr. Foley, the journalist, sat down with his hands tied behind his back, and this thug, I don't even know what to call him. The British media have nicknamed him Jihad John, so we'll use that, I guess, and cut his head off. It was so barbaric, it was so inhumane, it was just so cowardly. I mean, the man had his hands tied behind his back. Even a sheep, when they cut a sheep's head, when they cut the sheep's head off, doesn't have doesn't have that. So he couldn't fight back, and this guy cuts his head off. And what made it worse for me is that the murderer had an English accent. And I've lived in America my entire adult life since I was 19, and I adore America. I absolutely love America. That's the country that's emblazoned in my heart. And for an American citizen to be killed by an Englishman, I just blew me away. And then it just kept on getting worse. It kept on just elevating from there. Then he killed an Englishman. And then they killed the Japanese. 2 Englishmen, I think, was killed. I know were killed. Then the Japanese, and then the Yazidis. I'd never heard of a Yazidi before this happened. I'd never heard what. If you'd have said, "Do you want a Yazidi?" I would have thought it's something you ate. I had no idea what Yazidi was. But when I found it was just people who followed a different faith than Islam or Christianity or Judaism. So what? I lived in India for 9 months. The majority of the people there, 1 billion people, follow a different faith. So what? And they were summarily executing the men and the little boys and turning their widows and their daughters into slaves, into sex slaves, and gang raping them and selling them in markets in Mosul. And so that was when I decided that I was going to do something about it. And it was just concreted by the fact when the Jordanian pilot came down and they put him in a cage and burned him alive. So that really concreted it for me in my mind of what I was going to do.
Çima YPG, çima ne saziye kidin le YPG?
Well, it's funny you ask that question because when I arrived in Rojava in northern Syria, for your listeners, they videotaped me because it might be the last time my family get to see me, and asked me some questions. And they asked me that when did I first hear about the YPG? And I said when I arrived here, I had no idea really that I was going to the YPG. I didn't know the difference between YPG, Hevpeyvîna, HPG, YPJ, Peshmerga. I didn't know. All as I knew is that Kurds were fighting Daesh, and I wanted to fight with the Kurds because I wanted to kill Daesh. I didn't really want to fight with the Shia Iraqis. Not that they were asking for people, but they didn't seem to me anyway. They didn't seem to put up as much of a fight against Daesh as the Kurds did. So I had a natural proclivity to want to be with the people who didn't run.
Naha pişti to hati Rojava teçi hevi dekir u naha tlisar erdeçi dibini dikarene ki çavderin kha hestonerin kha helvesta gel helvesta şervanê YPG li hember xabedi jimere beji basbiki.
I didn't come with a great deal of expectation of anything. I didn't know. I'd never been in the military before, so it was all new to me, and I was just going to try and be a sponge and suck up as much as I possibly could. And obviously most of my experience of Kurdi people has been in the YPG, in the YPG, because we're not allowed to, we don't very often get an opportunity to interact with local Kurds because we're in we're together and we're doing things that are not civilian orientated, shall we say. But I found them delightful, and they're delightful people. And I found them actually, in my experience, to be a little bit like the English in terms of a lot of people think of the English as a Christian country, and very often a lot of people think of the Kurds as being a Muslim country. But I found that the Kurds are very often Muslim in the same way the English are Christians, which is their faith is not always the most important, prevalent thing. Humanity has been the thing that has drawn them to fight, and the deprivation that they've received and the persecution they've received, both from Daesh and predominantly from the regime, the Syrian government, Assad's government. So yeah, that's some of my observations.
Yeah, tabasa rejime o Daesh'e kır. Kurdên Rojava salên dur û dirêjin dibin şert û mercên bir giran da dijiyan bêmav bûn. Yani mafê em bêjin xwendinê tune be mafê hemwelatiyê tune bo yani wekî ku bi zindî hatibû binaqkirin. Tu servekê dixwaze çi bêjî yani di Sûriyeyekî nû de di Sûriyeyekî peşerojê de gelo ciyê Kurda re çawa be hem li rejîmê dinêrî hem jî li muhalefeta Sûrî dinêrî opozisyona Sûrî dinêrî yani hinc bi awayekî erênî li Kurdan nanerin mafê Kurda qebûl nakin.
Right. Well, I think in Rojava, there's about 30% of the population here are Arabs. Some of them have lived, very few of them, but some of them have lived here for a millennia and have lived alongside the Kurds and have not had any problems. A lot of Arabs were brought in the last century to sort of, Arabize the Kurdish region and sort of try and make Kurds some kind of Arab, which they obviously are not. How I see the future, I don't know. That's up to the people to decide. But I think the first step, and maybe a really good step, would be to allow Rojava a certain amount of independence in the same way that it has in Bashur in northern Iraq. They have like an autonomous region. And I think that might be a good idea because that way Rojava stays part of Syria. And yet it still has. All of a sudden, the people are allowed the freedoms that they're now experiencing and having for the first time. They can freely dress how they like. They can I mean, that's how bad it was. I mean, if you dressed in a way that was deemed to be Kurdish, that would get everybody's attention, and they would want to know why is he doing that? What's he about? And that kind of attention. Who needs that? To be able to dress how you want. I mean, it's ridiculous. And so now they're allowing. I have Daesh flying around here, and so I mean, so they have freedom. They can express themselves. They can talk, which they were never going to be allowed to do were never allowed to do under Assad and the regime, and certainly would never be allowed to do under ISIS. Freedom, so they can express themselves. They can walk, talk, look how they want to look, and be taught. Their children can be taught Kurdish in their schools.
Başa Michael gelekten de xazım ve gerim serte. Henek gelek şervanê biyanî jî hene ku welatên cür be cür hatine Rojava tevlî YPG bûne. Yani tu dixwazî bigêje çi armancê te serekî çi ye ku tu çi Rojava. Henek ez dibêjin Michael li du em bêjin macera digere. Yani kefa behnavî teng bûye çi ew derê. Tu ser gotinên wî rengê çi dibêjî? Armanca te çi ye ku tu yê bêjî bin armanca xwe pek anî ez serbilindim.
Well, I don't think anybody comes here for fun. I don't think any Westerners come here for fun. There are very, very few Westerners here. I've about 20 Westerners altogether, and the people I'm with now, there are no Westerners. So it's not a fun experience. Everything from the bathroom facilities to is fun, but I don't care about that. I came here thinking I was going to be sleeping on concrete. So the fact that wonderful, I feel I'm happy. but it's not. I didn't come here for fun, and it's not fun. If they capture anybody, they're most probably dead, particularly a West. There's nothing fun about this. To the second part of your question, which was what would I like to see happen? The most important thing for me is to see a complete eradication of ISIS, so that not just Kurds, but everyone who are under their having to live under this horror have freedom too, free too, and so that would be the most important thing, to stop them and to restore and some type of dignity to those people who have really had it ripped away from them. Those would be the main things.
Për sa më ndavija Michael, jibo mbejin raya gishtiye cihani, jibo hevalin te Amerika ve Britanya, jibo Hevkarên te, yani doxazit çi bejin mesajın te çine leve dereceye kutuleyi Rojava havcadere çi heye, yani te tut doxazit çi beji jiraya giştira.
Let me, if you don't mind, let me digress a little bit from that. I love you. That's what I will take to them, and in God willing, I would like to say to anybody who's listening, do what you can to help us, because we definitely need help. You know, stole, and they have them. They have so much more equipment than we do. They have more men. We're outmanned and we are outgunned. We have a big coalition, and they are helping us, but not very much. Britain is not helping at all. Britain is sending no bombers. Still, you know, the newly elected Prime Minister Cameron has a lot on his hands, but I would appeal to him: please help us, sir. You know, I'm looking at you and hoping that you're a brave man. You may very well be. There's a lot of British people who are brave, and I'm hoping you are one of those. Help us find. Got stopped in Parliament. Please try again to bring some air support, because we really need the air support. And to America, if you could give it us that you can do. And another thing that we really need is medical help, because a lot of the fighters just yesterday, one of the generals here got shrapnel through his eye. He's now going to be blind, and it's in the back of his brain. And in Syria, in equipment or technology to be able to help him with that. If somebody can come, and those type of people can take them to bring the technology here, but it might be difficult. You could take them to England or to America or France or wherever. Like we did with the Pakistani girl, Layla, the one who won the peace, or to give them medical attention that they need, and then bring them back, because they want to come back in the fight. I mean, I'm here amongst so many fighters who are injured, but they're back in it. They're back ready to fight. These men want to fight, and women too, I must say. Before I came here, I was we need to protect women, and they don't need mollycoddling. After seeing the YPG, they are brave beings. I have a whole newfound respect for on her mind. For those women too, they're being butchered too, and they need help, and sometimes they're just not getting the medical help. If we could find a way to bring them to the cover and send them back to this fight, they're wanting to come back. These are not immigrants like England and America is having a hard time with economic country. No, they want to come back and help their country. If we could do that, that would be wonderful.
What about your friends in Hollywood? What can they do for people of Rojava, for the fight against ISIS, for you folks? What can they do?
Anybody. I don't want anybody to feel unempowered. You can write congressman, you can write to your prime minister, and in a nice way, in a courteous way, not in a horrible way that sometimes politics gets in the way. I'm Labour. No, we're all human beings, and we're all in all in this. This is like the Nazis. This should cement human beings who has a spark of humanity. When you see these women being raped daily, when you see these men being butchered daily, when you see it and killed daily, we do something, whatever you can do. Write a post on Facebook and say, spread it around. You write a letter to your do whatever is on your heart, whatever you feel, and ask yourself, is there anything I can do, rather than just hear this interview and not do anything. Ask, is there anything I can do? And there'll be something. I really believe that something will come in your heart that you can do, and you will feel better for doing it, because this is a good fight, and this is a fight that we need to win. And I would that, very often, and I was one of them when I was in America, because I love America. We just lost so many boys in the fight in Iraq. We just spent billions of dollars on for it. And so I totally understand how we could be war weary. And then Libya, we helped Libya. Happens there. So, we give them weapons, and then the weapons get in the wrong hand. If you give weapons to the Kurds, if you give weapons to the YPG, they're not going to be giving them to the regime. They're not giving these weapons to Arabs. They're keeping them, because when ISIS is finished, and God willing will be finished, the regime the regime is going to be coming back, and they will be. And right now we have like a quasi, you don't say anything to us and we won't say anything to you kind of situation are gone, because we both have this common enemy. Then it's going to be, they're going to turn their, and all the technology that they have, they're going to turn it on Kurdistan. They need help to stop that. They need help to say, hey, listen, we don't really want to be part of Syria, but if you insist to stop a war, give us autonomy like the Iraqis have given autonomy to Bashur, to northern Iraq. Give them something, give them peace so that they can live their life the way they want to.
Ez dixwazim bizanim, yani armancê te her serekî çi ye? Tu dixwazî çi pêk bînî? Hinek kes dibêjin Michael bernavî teng bûye, ji xwe digere, ji bo macera çûye Rojava. Yani bi rastî eger tu çi serkefte pêk bînî, tu yê xwe serkefte bibînî?
Okay. Well, I'll address the first part of that. I didn't come here for fun. I think if I wanted fun, there's a lot of more fun places I could be than a Westerner fighting ISIS in Syria. Then there are a lot of funner places. But excuse me, I would say that for me personally, I want to help. I want to be part of this movement of humanity to stop ISIS. To stop them, to free people, to free not only the Kurds, to free Arabs, to free everybody who's under the oppression and just the disgust and the horror that they bring. I want to play my part in that, trying to help stop that. While I've been here, I've really grown to love the Kurdish people and see how much oppression they've really lived under. So I'm hoping also that they can have a tadicum of just normal, civilized human life, where they can wear what they want, where their children can be educated in a language that is predominantly the language that is spoken by the local people here. So that's what I would like. If I can do the first and help with the second, or help do both of those, that would be wonderful.
And my last question is that being a British and living your adult life in the US, what do you want to say to your friends and loved ones in the UK and the US? What do you expect from them? What do you want from them?
I would the same as I would hope from, and it's a hope from anybody, anybody who's listening to my voice. If there's something you can do, and believe you me, there will be something that you can do, even if it's writing a post on Facebook. If it's writing a letter to your congressman, if it's making a call to your member of parliament, if it's, whatever it is, something, talk to somebody, do something to support this movement to crush this horror that's called ISIS, Daesh, IS in England, whatever you want to call them. And you don't have to get into a big debate about, is it Islamic terrorism, is it this? Let's focus on what we have in common, which is we need to stop these people. We need to stop them. Do something, no matter how small it is, do something. And if you did that and you did that today, believe you me, your day will be better and you'll feel better and you'll have done something.
There's a new government in the UK.
Say again, please.
There is a new government in the UK. Although the US is supporting with the airstrikes, but UK is a little bit. Many people believe they are so passive; they haven't done enough.
Right. Oh, yeah. Are you asking me? Yeah. That's a fact. What you just said is a fact. And you must give fair play to the Prime Minister, who's been re-elected this time by a strong majority. And I'm not a conservative, but he did try to do the right thing. He did try to bring warplanes here to help the YPG. And I would say to all the journalists, there are warriors in this life, and they don't all wear soldiers' uniforms. There are warriors who are journalists. You're doing good work. There are warriors who are attorneys. There are warriors who are politicians. Those men, we need those in Britain. We need those men of strong courage to stand up and help and do what you can. And I would just say to Mr. Cameron, if there's a possibility you and your mates can get together and try for a second vote to get this through, to send those planes, believe you me, not only me, but this entire nation, not just this entire nation of Rojava, of Kurds, but everybody, every man, every woman of any kind of morality would give you a big thumbs up and remember you. And more importantly, you'll know you did your part. Just like the person who doesn't feel is very powerful, he writes something on Facebook. Well, he did something. What you can do is more powerful, but if you do it, you're doing the right thing. And by helping the Kurds, and again, I want to reiterate that, you're not helping any kind of Al-Qaeda, any kind of un-Islamic fascism. You're not doing that. You're helping people who are so impoverished and have lived under oppression for so long. You're doing a good thing. You're doing a really, really good thing.
What about Washington, where we are, and your friends in Hollywood? What can they do for you, for YPG, for Kurds, and for the fight against ISIS?
I would appeal I would appeal to everybody, regardless of who they are, whether it's the Prime Minister, whether it's a big director in Hollywood, or whether it's some old lady or older gentleman who's listening to me. It doesn't matter. You do what you can do. You do what you can do. That's what I would say. Do whatever you can do, but do something. Do something. Don't feel unempowered. Don't feel I can't do anything. You can do something. Think about it, lay it on your heart, pray about it if you're a praying person, or just if you're an atheist or an agnostic, just see what your heart says. If there's anything that you can do something to help us, because we really do need the help, very much so.
In the previous recording, you talk about the women. If you have some remarks about Kurdish women fighters.
Well, the Kurdish women, they are just an example for women worldwide. I mean, they are just, they're just wonderful. I mean, these women, I mean, they are so brave. I mean, talk about bravery. They are just phenomenal. And there's no quit. The Kurds, the men and the women, but for me particularly, it's been a real head turner. The bravery of the Kurdish women is absolutely phenomenal, just phenomenal, and it changed my opinion. I mean, I in the American and the British military, I never wanted women on the front line, but after seeing these women do what they do, it's like, hey, if they've got that burning fire in their heart and belly to get up and do it, God bless them and let them do it, because they're good at it.